Yeah, hit me with it.
Yeah. So when Wolves were 3-0 up, their XG was 0.4. So that tells you all you need to know about the performance today from Leicester. And what you didn't want was a performance like this going into Liverpool on Boxing Day and Man City on the 29th. So there's got to be a lot of food for thought in that dressing room and in the coming days leading up to those two games. But I know you don't want to be too harsh and too critical, but you know, as you said, the fans showed their reaction, and I suppose that's the best way for me to leave it there.
Yeah, I am trying to, you know, get some positives, Jerry. Maybe those goals, that individual errors.
It's good to see Harry Winks back. Yeah. Okay, he come on, showed a little bit of class, a little bit of control. So yeah, that's a positive. And obviously, there's one or two other players who are still missing that need to come back ASAP. So I think when you're conceding goals the way you're conceding, it does nothing but drain any confidence out of the rest of the players in your team, Dan. So it makes it that more difficult to get any momentum in the game. No matter how fearless or how determined you are, you know, it's not the amount of goals, it's the way the goals were conceded, and that's what drains the confidence out of the rest of the team. And so, with good reason, you can't really take that many positives. Or straight off the back of that game, if we were talking on the Monday night show, then maybe I'd have a bit of time to analyse it and, you know, think about it and come back with one or two positives. But at the moment, you're asking me to analyse a game that lasted 94 minutes and pick positives out. And, you know, the truth is, at this moment in time, I can't really find any.
It is hard to take any sort of positives from that when you're 3-0 down. Okay, the one positive that I can sort of think concede in the second half. If that's a crumb of comfort. I mean, we spoke about Wolves' defensive frailties. I mean, Leicester have got some as well. You know, that's 37 goals now conceded in this Premier League campaign, and somehow that has to improve, and it has to improve in probably one of the toughest places to go in the Premier League, away at Anfield. I want to say a wake-up call, that'd be a wrong thing to say, but the lads know that when they arrive at Anfield, they cannot defend like they have done today in that first half. Otherwise, you know, it could get really messy against one of the top scorers in the Premier League.
Yes, there's no harder game next Liverpool away. I know we're missing players. You've got Ricky Pereira, Hermanson and Ndidi, Fatawu. I know he's long term, but all four of them play in that team.
Yeah.
So it's 4 players that they're missing, and they're missing them badly, and you can tell in the performances in recent weeks.
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't necessarily always want to blame injuries, but when you've got particularly 4 that you've reeled off there that are pretty much guaranteed starters, that it makes your life so difficult.
It does. No,
but any team in Europe.
Well, look at Man City, the problems that they've had this season.
And that's just with one player,
they've got some key players out. But it is a tough one. It's a tough one to take, and you can understand the supporters' reactions. You know, when conceding such poor goals, and it's happening a little bit too often. And everybody coming here today expecting, you know, seeing the situation that Wolves are in, the start that they've had to the season, you know, great chance to sort of put a bit of daylight between ourselves and the bottom 3. But it just never materialised, sadly.
Yeah, and I guess, 2 hours ago, we were a lot more optimistic, weren't we? And we were thinking that was an opportunity. Okay, it's not happened. In the manner of the defeat, that's one thing, but actually just on the face of it, it's just a defeat. That's all. It's nothing worse than that. Leicester still aren't in the bottom 3 at the moment, and they won't be at Christmas.
And obviously the aim of it was this season is to stay up in it. When you get promoted, I know all 3 teams they obviously want to stay in the Premier League, don't you? That's the aim. We're not in the relegation zone. We're out of it, but I think the last 2 performances, you just start to think in the back of your head, 4-0 away at Newcastle, 3-0 at home to Wolves. You do start to worry a little bit, but the positives are we're not in the relegation zone at Christmas, and usually that's a good sign.
It's not a lack of hard work or the lads applying themselves. It's just mistakes.
Well, Jerry said in his commentary there, like, it's not concede them, it's the way we concede them.
Yeah.
And all them goals were avoidable, as we said earlier.
Well, I guess, Jerry, though, you can maybe look at that one way and think, okay, because they were so avoidable and they were mistakes and individual mistakes, that actually then, you know, on another day, it's so much different today, isn't it?
Yeah, but Dan, we've been talking about mistakes all season under Steve Cooper. They were conceding goals that were mistakes. The first game against West Ham, you know, West Ham had 30 shots on goal and they conceded 1 goal later on. That's what I want to see back. That's what the fans will want to see. And I haven't seen that since that first game against West Ham. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know. But we've been talking about mistakes all season, Dan. And yes, you can work on it and you can hope that the penny drops. And so Rude's got some work to do, if that's going to change. But I'm just thinking, why can't we play like we played against West Ham in Rude's first game? Because we were second best for most of that night as well, but we defended stoutly. It was over our dead bodies defending at times, and then we got our rewards at the other end because of the hard work we put in to stop West Ham. So it's not impossible, absolutely, and it can be turned around, but there's got to be some soul searching. As I said, the lads rightly said it, it's the way that we're conceded. You asked me the question about having, when your back 4 or your 2 centre halves are playing with a different keeper behind them, and that showed up glaringly for the second goal. The keeper, all right, was James Justin, not one of the second halves, but that was miscommunication, no communication, whatever that was between 2 players. They ended up in a really soft goal being conceded, and these are the types of things that have to be stamped out and pretty quickly. The next game's in 3-4 days time, is it, something like that? And so 4 days time. So how do and this is a game against a team who are in and around you, and you're playing them at home, and you have to, a game that you're probably just about favourites for. Okay, they've got a new manager, they'll get a bit of reverb and whatever else, but your last 2 home games, the performances have been good, and you've got results, and then today you go revert back to type, conceding soft goals, and that's the worrying thing for me.
And it gave them a massive lifeline, a massive lift. When that first one went in, they couldn't believe their luck. I mean, I thought we passed the ball well in that first half. We got in some good areas. The Vardy chance, the Mavididi shot with the keeper has made a reasonably good save. But scored with the first shot on goal. Yannick Vestergaard has to be stronger, in my opinion. And I didn't like the way the crowd's reaction was pointed out at Danny Ward, and I can understand it. It's hard for the goalkeeper when you've not played that many games in 2 seasons now. Didn't feature much last season, if at all. Under Enzo Maresca, he's played the odd cup game this season. It is hard to come in and be at your sharpest. It's a difficult position to do that. It's different for outfield players because obviously your intensity in training sort of gets you through. You're coming off the bench, you're having minutes on the pitch. You don't get that as a goalkeeper. So it was a hard one for Danny Ward to come in. He'll take the brunt of the stick. But it's about sticking together now as a squad, as a football club, and bouncing back. You know, it can't be all doom and gloom. It's been a bad day. We know that. It was a bad day last weekend. It's about bouncing back and getting a good reaction from the players.
And a good performance. You never know at Anfield, do you? What might happen there? We saw, what was it, 3 seasons ago around Christmas time, Leicester played Liverpool, and Leicester had about 12 injuries. Liverpool hadn't played for about a week. Leicester had played 48 hours earlier, turned them over here. And you never know what might happen.
And that's the beauty of the football, isn't it? You don't know what's going to be around the corner. You know, the winnable games, you think you should be beating Wolves at home, but knowing this team, they'll go to Anfield and pick up a result. And that's how football goes. You just got to be positive. You got to get together. You've got to regroup. You've got to work hard as a team. You know, as a team, not individually, as a team. You work together and you get through this difficult period.
That's the voice of David Nugent. Thank you to him. Thank you to Ewan Roberts. And thank you to Jerry Taggart for their company with us this afternoon. Thank you to those of you that have watched as well. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys, hope that everybody at home has a fantastic Christmas. Try and put this result out of your minds and enjoy your Christmas. We'll be back again, of course, on Boxing Day for that game with Liverpool. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, of course, at Anfield. That means we'll be live from 7 p.m. So have a fantastic week, everybody, and we'll see you all on Boxing Day.